Hello everyone, and now welcome to a game. This game going to be between HawK and KroLu, taking place here on Northern Isle. KroLu spawning as, well, the purple orc in the top right hand side of the map. Meanwhile, HawK spawning as the pink human on the bottom left. Should be a great game here. HawK opening things up with, 4 peasants on the gold mine and 2 on those trees, not using that mining trick, and should be setting up an altar of King's Blacksmith and Barracks Farm for a paladin rifle build. Has been a pretty common build for a human to go up against undead. I think really made popular by Thorzane from DreamHack about 5 years ago. Or at least I believe that's when it became much more popular. It was always on a type of a wing type of build, but since then, the unkillable army has just become that much more powerful. Meanwhile, we are looking at a war mill, Altar of Storms, so it looks like it's going to be Farseer Headhunters. That Farseer with those Spirit Wolves being able to put down a little bit of pressure. And then are we going to see, nope, it's not going to be a fast tech to tier 2. War Mill is down, should be able to harvest a good amount of lumber, but really just wanting to train up those Headhunters early and quickly. Now, range units versus range units. We're not going to see much going on at the 2-minute mark. Farseer may try to just summon up some Spirit Wolves and rush out across the map. He's going to find that HawK is still training up his hero, most likely, yeah. 54 seconds until that Paladin is out compared to 22. I don't think it takes a full 30 seconds to get across Northern Isle, as some Riflemen will be trained up as well. Alright, 2-minute mark of this game, and, well, I don't believe we're even going to see that much creeping. Farseer venturing forth, not summoning up Spirit Wolves just quite yet. We know it's going to happen. I'm just wondering, yep, KroLu opting to make his way towards the middle portion of the map. I don't quite know the min-max on when to summon up those Spirit Wolves. You want to be able to summon up the Spirit Wolves and then be able to re-summon them. You also want time to regenerate some of that mana, but you want the wolves to be around long enough to actually deal damage as well. So that's a little bit of a danger, or not a dangerous, but difficult thing to calculate in theory, as that wolf now trying to retreat back. There's a big holy light right there, and the Rifleman going to turn back around, perhaps get some easy damage onto that wolf, as we could be looking at a couple of militia. Alright, so spreading out that damage across multiple Riflemen. Headhunters now looking to join in on the battle, and we are looking at, well, down to 309 hit points, and there's that resummon that I mentioned earlier. So resummoning up those wolves able to apply damage onto the Riflemen, and then, well, resummoning them so that experience is not given, and just trying to rinse and repeat with this strategy over and over. Tech to tier 2 has already started, and we are already getting the 1-0 upgrades for those Headhunters. Meanwhile, no upgrade yet for the Riflemen, no gunpowder upgrades, as the units are looking to back up again. Alright, more focus fire, more poking. There's another resummon there. Paladin perhaps going to get in another holy light, or perhaps try and build. No, there's the tech to tier 2 trying to build up a little bit here, as this Rifleman down to 210 hit points, up to 371. As we're looking at still poking back and forth. Headhunters range is 550 right now compared to the Rifleman's 400. This is one of those weird situations where the Riflemen are actually getting outranged by those Headhunters early on, as we don't have the upgraded Rifleman range. We're still looking at the Paladin. Paladin is actually suffering quite a bit of damage again, as the militia are trying to make their way back out. So this is a pretty intensive micro war. The militia are trying to be there to absorb damage, as another Holy Lights, saving a low hit point Rifleman from imminent death, as we're now looking at the Farseer, perhaps trying to put pressure onto a militia and take him down. Alright, Farseer perhaps a little bit too far separated from the rest of the army, and, well, fighting on multiple fronts is always very difficult. We're going to see some damage as the Rifleman getting in some pop shot or free shots onto that Farseer, waiting for the units to try and regroup and recover. Alright, a little bit of damage. Farseer trying to get away, down to 331 hit points. Another round of shooting. There's a little bit of damage. KroLu apparently well, tried to double back around, thought he was going to walk around these trees, ended up getting within range again, and, well, trying to keep those well, high hit point riflemen in the front and all of those low hit point riflemen in the back. All right, Paladin now taking a little bit far too much damage here, and after 5.5 minutes in this game, both heroes still have not earned a point of experience. This has been one of those, well, hero duels, and both sides able to constantly save and deny experience to their opponent. Paladin, however, needs to get some holy lights onto those units here, onto his own units. Gonna get a scroll of regeneration going as well. And still staying topped out on mana here. All right, Farseer finally on the board with experience after, well, after the 6-minute mark in this game. And Rifleman going to try and poke apart again. Are we going to see some damage onto that Headhunter? Paladin trying to stay back here, but Paladin ends up venturing a little bit too far, and the Farseer now, well, taking quite a bit of damage. Farseer is going to be forced to retreat back, but that's only one healing salve difference from, well, and being able to join back in on the battle here. All right. Riflemen still getting healed up nicely. They have 1-0 upgrades as well, as we should be looking at the improved Rifleman upgrade. Yeah, 600 range, so incredibly important, being able to increase their range by 50%. Siphon mana from that, well, from the Blood Mage here. There's some more Holy Light. This Rifleman needing to back up again, and, well, giving more mana to that Paladin. There's another Holy Light once more. And the Tuskar Trapper going to get easily shut down here. Paladin back up to maximum mana, perhaps should Holy Light one of his own, well, heal up one of his friends as well, as we see the Shadow Hunter as the follow-up hero for KroLu. All right. 1.6, 1.6. Oh, there's a quick Hex onto the Paladin. Paladin could have a very, very bad day. Scroll Count Portal is going to be used. No, there's Siphon Mana. Oh, Paladin down to 22 hit points. There's another Hex. The Headhunter is able to get the job done. Are we going to see a Headhunter fall? No, we are not. Farseer able to retreat back. There's that Headhunter. He's going to get healed back up. True Shot Aura picked up by the Shadow Hunter, and that's going to be some big damage bonus for this entire Orc army. Paladin at level 1 does resurrect extremely quickly, so that, I guess that's one of the benefits there, as the Blood Mage, well, looking to finish off some of these units and perhaps get to level 2. So there's level 2 now. We do have Flame Strike here. There's some more Siphon Mana. We're going to see a Hex onto that low hit point Rifleman. Rifleman trying to retreat back here, and we're going to see a Rifleman finally taking down Farseer, gets to level 2 as well. And without Holy Light, the Riflemen are not going to be able to really stick around all that long. Paladin needs to rejoin in on the battle here, as HawK kind of losing control of his units back at home, not realizing that the Paladin is not in that main control group. There's some more Siphon Mana, but the Spirit Wolves were summoned. All right, units trying to retreat back again. Are we going to see that Paladin join in on the fight here? Blood Mage needs to give some mana to that Paladin here. And, well, there's a Flame Strike. Wow. The well-placed Flame Strike. Holy Light on that Paladin. Blood Mage perhaps should give some mana to that Paladin again, as the Blood Mage, well, getting a Flame Strike on some retreating Headhunters to apply some big damage. There's a Flame Strike again, and there's that damage once more. There's some Siphon Mana into the Paladin. Paladin does also have a Wand of Mana Stealing, so should be able to easily, well, get a little bit of additional mana. Right. Paladin could actually give the Wand of Mana Stealing to the Blood Mage, and then the Blood Mage could then siphon mana perhaps off of the Ice Troll Priest or that Ogre Magi. Blood Mage needs just a little bit more mana to really get that going again, as the Tuskar Trapper and the Ice Trolls doing a little bit of fighting back and forth. All right, Paladin is sitting at level 2. We're going to see a Hex, or I believe, was that a Orb of Lightning? That was a Purge right there, followed by a stun, and nicely done. Torrent even throws down a Stomp here, so you're going to be able to start stun locking some of these units. Scroll of Healing as the Rifle. Oh, it looked as though the Paladin got the Holy Light off as the Rifleman was getting killed. Are we going to see some more damage go down here? 43 supply compared to 44. Rifleman versus Headhunters going back and forth, trying to just open fire across those Berserkers, as the Berserkers You know, that bonus bit of hit points, so incredibly important. Tauren Chieftain, does he have enough mana? No, but those purges coming across with a Shadow Hunter, making it difficult for the Rifleman to actually back away. All right, this has been working out extremely well as the Berserkers are constantly going into frenzy, able to well, move quickly and attack quickly, as the Paladin now forced to fall back again. 43 supply compared to 38. Especially with that Tauren Chieftain, once he gets that Endurance Aura, those units are going to be just moving that much faster, as 2-1 upgrades going up against, well, essentially 1.75 upgrades with that True Shot Aura again. Paladin pushing back the other way. Are we going to see another one of mana stealing used? Rifleman trying to retreat back. Paladin continuing to make its way forward. Berserkers, well, movement speed fast, attack speed average, perhaps waiting for Endurance Aura to move that much more quickly, as we are looking at a Fire Lord as a third and final hero. All right, so Fire Lord, third and final hero here. Perhaps he's going to try and pick up some of the units here. Ice Troll High Priest, draining some of that mana. And, well, how is this all going to unfold in just a bit? All right, units trying to pull back here. Incinerate, I believe, the ability on that Fire Lord. Yeah, so that Incinerate ability, if that target does end up dying, does explode and cause more damage across other units. They're trying to use that Rifleman to be able to poke apart and perhaps start causing those dominoes to fall one by one and having some of that damage stacked. All right, Paladin makes its way back over, picking off that low hit point unit. Well, Paladin could be in trouble. Devotion Aura has no way of keeping himself alive. There's a big holy light right there. And really, after 12 minutes of this game, no one has hit a level 3 hero yet. Both sides still fighting their way back through Blood Mage. Well, trying to drain a little bit of mana, trying to keep some of those units alive. We're looking at a Berserker able to escape away. That, remember, they also have Troll Regeneration, so that Troll Regeneration is quite quick, already back up to 45, 46 hit points, as we see a deny there by the Ice Troll Warlord as the creeps join in on the fighting. All right, little bit more damage again. Units trying to fall back. Berserkers with that regeneration, so incredibly important. I believe it's about one hit point a second again. As we're looking at Siphon Mana on that Farseer. Farseer trying to retreat back here. Are we going to see some Holy Lights? Paladin could be in trouble. Paladin needs to stay alive, as we see Militia now joining in on the battle to try and flank out KroLu's units. All right, with this opportunity, HawK going to finish off the Ice Troll Warlord creep camp here, gain a little bit of additional experience, and that Paladin picks up a Wand of the Wind, not necessarily the item that he was looking for at all. Blood Mage, well, wants the Siphon Mana perhaps off of that Ogre Magi, get a little bit of mana back into that Paladin, and then just keep this, well, strategy going over and over. There's level 3 on the Blood Mage now. Well, Ogre Magi quickly gets taken down. Fire Lord should be given the cause of attack, as the Blood Mage purposely backs up here to give opportunities to gain more experience for the Fire Lord and the Paladin. Coming back through the Tauren Totem, Spirit Walkers down, Tauren Chieftain, Ring of Regeneration, Endurance Aura. Both sides finally doing creeping at the 14-minute mark of this game. You have some Tavern Heroes. Griffins are also out here on the battlefield as well. Nice regeneration. And, well, it is Griffins with Storm Hammers. Animal War Training has been researched already. Interesting. And the Griffins, with that Devotion Aura, well, if we add in a Scroll of Protection on top of that, these Griffin Riders are going to be very difficult to take down, even if there is a Bestiary with Bat Riders. The additional bonus armor from that Devotion Aura is incredibly important, as it provides just that much more protection. All right, there's some Siphon Mana into that Paladin. Paladin nearly back up to full mana already, as the Blood Mage makes its way off to the north, trying to clear out some of these corner creep camps. More Griffins could be added in. There's, I believe, a Crystal Ball use. Yeah, Crystal Ball use right there. Tauren Chieftain able to spot his opponent figuring out the top left-hand side of the map, but more importantly, perhaps spotting that there is a Griffin in play. All right, Blood Mage should be siphoning more mana off of that Ogre Magi. Gonna get it from the Shaman instead, and well, Blood Mage is gonna be just shy of maximum mana. All right. We had a long stage where no one had level 3 heroes. And over the course of 3 minutes, all the heroes are going to be at level 3. So an important point, are we going to get level 2 Soulburn? Yes, we are. Level 2 Soulburn. Being able to silence or shut down enemy heroes. The Tauren Chieftain, if it tries to dive in on that frontline spot, suddenly finds himself unable to use a stomp, and well, could find himself in a dangerous and precarious situation. Meanwhile, down to the south side here, KroLu setting up an expo. Well, an easy green chief camp to clear things up here. Blood Mage, well, Gloves of Haste. Who's going to pick that up? Firelord, so plus 15 damage. Also has that Warsong Battle Drums, so nicely done there. 2-2 upgrades for the Riflemen. 0-2 upgrades for the Griffin Riders, obviously, and nothing currently being upgraded at the Blacksmith. Are we going to see an engagement? 64 supply by HawK. Meanwhile, KroLu sitting at 50, but having 1,000 gold in the bank. This could be incredibly important. How are things going to go down? Paladin is in that frontline spot. There's some Dispel, and the Paladin going to have some trouble. Down to 152 hit points, down to 190. What is he doing now? Being forced to retreat back. There's a lot of damage. Rifleman getting cleaned up here. Are we going to finish off a Spirit Walker? No, we are not. The Spirit Link able to protect him there. Paladin without Divine Shield and constantly getting targeted, having a difficulty trying to stay alive. There is also finally one Staff of Sanctuary, so regeneration plus Sanctuary buff in order to regenerate those hit points quickly. Couple of Griffins up in the air as well. How is this all going to unfold? A Tauren Chieftain, level 2 Stomp. Are we going to see some Siphon Mana? No, we are not. There's a ward there by KroLu to keep track of where this army is and whether or not an expansion will be placed down. Paladin already back up to full. He also has a Staff of Sanctuary. And being able to save low hit point units always going to be a big deal there, as the Paladin picks up a Potion of Replenishment. 62 supply compared to 65, but KroLu does have the expansion right now. Well, Riflemen did not, or excuse me, the Griffins didn't get a round of attack off. We're looking at some damage go down here. All right, that Incinerate, trying to apply onto those Berserkers. Berserkers are 3-0 upgraded. Went up against 2-4 upgraded with that Devotion Aura. Chain Lightning bouncing around. There goes, well, one unit there. There goes a Stomp, and another Griffin Rider going to perhaps get taken out. He is turning into a pincushion. Flame Strike now finally goes down. So level 2 Flame Strike, and racking up a little bit of damage there, as we're still looking at the Griffins perhaps trying to take down a Tauren or two. Tauren going to get taken down. Paladin still fighting, and needs to retreat back. Is he going to get stomped down? There's a Staff of Sanctuary, and he was unable to stomp it because, well, there's a Potion of Mana. There's a Stomp now. I believe the Soulburn was in play, hence the Tauren Chieftain couldn't stomp in that spot. Both sides fighting. Flame Strikes going down here, and that is a lot of damage across the board. Blood Mage, however, currently low on mana. Low hit point Kodo Beast able to retreat back. 43 supply compared to 44. Both sides suffering heavy losses. The Tauren Chieftain with that Cloak of Flames doing quite a bit of damage as another Flame Strike goes down, but well, Griffin lost in the process. Unit still trying to fall back here. Paladin needs to join back in on the fight. I believe he was Staff of Sanctuary, and now once he joins back in, he should be able to Holy Light and get in a save onto that Blood Mage there. And now we see a Holy Light trying to save that Rifleman. All right, Firelord back out into the battlefield. Both sides still fighting their way through. We're seeing some Firelord throwing some of those and throwing some of that damage back around and trying to finish off that Kodo Beast. Kodo Beast escaping away at 55 hit points. Now Shadowhunter could be in trouble, down to 29 hit points. Is he going to be able to get away? Yes, he is. Paladin now going to be in trouble. Paladin gets a level up there and gets Divine Shield just in time. All right, that Divine Shield could not have come at a better time. Paladin perhaps should have been using that replenishment potion with that Divine Shield as cover to regenerate some of those precious hit points, and HawK does do that now. KroLu is in a great spot, 57 supply compared to 41, with an economic advantage over here, building at the non-typical expansion zone that's a little bit harder to clear, and he's just mining in peace. That gold advantage is absolutely huge right now, as it's allowing him to, well, build back into low upkeep while still having an economic advantage. Paladin, well, Griffins trying to make their way over across the map here. Are we going to see a Scroll of Town portal, or just units trying to make their way in? Griffin spots all of this. Scroll of Town portal, units going to be forced to fall back, as the incoming army is rather large. There's a Flame Strike, and well, all of those Berserkers taking quite a bit of damage already. Blood Mage being forced to retreat back. Shadowhunter, well, was actually in a dangerous spot in that front line, as we see the Spirit Walker taking quite a bit of damage. There's a bit of damage again, and I saw once more another silence, soul burn onto the Tauren Chieftain. Tauren Chieftain needs to lose some of that mana from that Blood Mage, and well, that's what the Blood Mage is thinking, as we see a couple ensnares go down. Invul Potion, no, not going to be used there. There goes a Rifleman and a Raider, those that incinerate, well, causing some of those units to explode, not leave corpses, as we're looking at the Raiders getting, well, bursted down as well. Riflemen continuing to try to fight their way through. We're looking at a couple of ensnares. More damage coming across. 44 supply compared to 53. And, well, without the Blood Mage nearby, difficult to spot what's going to happen here. All right, Firelord down to 72, down to dead. Paladin didn't have the mana, and perhaps, well, Paladin's Staff of Sanctuary was on cooldown. There goes another purge there onto the Griffin Riders, and it is the Lightning Orbs that have been making it difficult to actually retreat back with those units. Lightning Orbs on the Shadowhunter, randomly purging units and preventing them from being able to head back. There's a stomp now onto the Paladin, and the Shadowhunter really hasn't even needed to use Hex all that much. Siphon mana into the Paladin again. More Riflemen getting taken down. Those Wolves, well, picking away at more and more targets again and again, as we see a low hit point Tauren trying to retreat back. 58 supply compared to 37. KroLu has HawK up against the ropes right now, just trying to finish him off, as HawK retreating back and trying to, well, regather himself. Firelord not getting resurrected, and you can see the, well, Blood Mage siphoning the mana off of that Tauren Chieftain. Tauren Chieftain, well, being forced to retreat back. KroLu, however, the longer this game goes, the better for him. He has the base right now. Main gold mines are going to be done mining. What you see is what you're going to get. And HawK doesn't have much at all. Winning the economic game in order to have superior production, and then bringing it to the battlefield here. HawK in a bit of trouble. He needs to make a drastic move. It could just be a quick Scroll of Town portal back in. Nope. No Scroll of Town portal, so Farseer Shadowhunter going to be forced to walk back here, as we see a big Flame Strike nearly take down all of these peasants. So one peon gone, 2 peons gone, 3 peons already gone here, as the economic advantage has, well, pretty much been lost. All peons taken out. Blood Mage retreating back. Paladin now sitting at level 4. Does have level 1 Divine Shield to try and keep himself alive. That does mean that the Riflemen themselves don't have the crazy amount of armor in that typical build. Are we going to get some peons to migrate down? That is the question. Nope, the peons are going to migrate down now. 66 supply compared to 43. And these peasants now doing the long distance mining strategy, as the Firelord needs, well, 15 seconds to make its way out onto the battlefield. Clarity Potion on the Paladin. Units getting ready to venture forth. Peon's going to saturate this gold mine easily. 4-4-4 going up against 4-4-4. It really is the army difference that's going to make or break this here. All right, there's Siphon Mana, I believe, yes, in Soul Burn on the Torrent Chieftain. So the Torrent Chieftain finally gets in a Stomp after all that time. Flame Strike canceled by the Stomp, though, so beautifully done there. Blood Mage does need to get a Flame Strike down across all of those Berserkers who are currently frenzied. We're looking at Griffin's going to, Thorin is going to get taken down. That's going to be some big damage there as the Blood Mage really needs to get a Flame Strike here. Are we going to see some damage there? There's going to be some Flame Strike across all of those units again. But Griffin Rider getting lightning shielded down. Blood Mage trying to retreat back down to 100 hit points. Paladin perhaps going to be able to give a Holy Light. No, unable to. Going to staff a Sanctuary. That Blood Mage back home. But there is just not enough right now. All right, are we going to see a staff? No, we are not. Unable to do that staff. And that is gonna be the game. HawK not realizing the expansion over here on the bottom right, perhaps misjudging the strength of KroLu's production and his army and how quickly he could replace those units. The follow-up battle definitely went in KroLu's favor, and just attacking with superior numbers, giving KroLu the victory. Let me know what you guys thought about this game in the comments below.